Bobby Marks on ESPN said that the Utah Jazz are messing with the integrity of the NBA. Are you beeping kidding me? This is the most asinine, absurd comment I've heard. I mean, maybe since Kendrick Perkins talked on ESPN. This is ridiculous. It's next on Locked on Jazz.
You are Locked on Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
How are you? I'm David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, Jazz NBA insider. This is Locked on Jazz. It's your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz, giving you insight, expertise, geeky numbers, and hopefully making it way better to be a Jazz fan each and every day. Thank you so much for making Locked on Jazz your first listen. Thank you for making Locked on the #1 sports podcast network. We are free and available on all podcasting apps as well as on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. The winter games are on. There's no better way to allow them to follow them than with a bet on FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. Today's show, we'll talk about Jaren Jackson, what he does defensively, how unique a player he is, and why the Jazz, why it just absolutely changes who the Jazz are, which is what I wanted to lead with and what I prepared. But when a comment is made as silly as what Bobby Marks made, my inclination is to ignore it, except for the fact that when it's on ESPN and then is on every social media, I think it has to be addressed. And I don't know Bobby Marks. I do know people who know Bobby Marks, and everyone says he's delightful. So I don't mean to make this a personal attack. I'm hopefully a pretty nice guy, and I've said really stupid stuff in my career. And if I say stuff that's that stupid, someone should rip the crap out of me. Bobby Marks going on ESPN and saying that the Utah Jazz are messing with the integrity of the game as though it's something new is one of the stupidest beeping comments I've ever heard. Honestly, I wonder if it's personal. Or I wonder if a producer made him do it. It's such an asinine comment. Now, let me put a few clarifications on this. Do I love where the NBA is right now? No. Do I love where the fact that the correct thing for multiple teams to do right now is to play basketball games without the intention of winning? No. Do I think it's a problem for the league? Yes. Do I think it's actually easily solvable? No. Will I give some solutions later in the show? Sure. But they're radical, ridiculous, and they're not implementable. So, am I saying I don't think this is an issue? No. It's an issue. There are significant issues in the NBA right now. And this is the week in which we discuss them. The NFL is over. And so the national pundits have nothing left to talk about in regards to the NFL. The Sam Darnold feel-good story feels too good and so you have to rip on the NBA. This is literally what happens every year. Last year it happened earlier because week 17 of the NFL playoffs was set and there was no good games. And so then everybody went on the NBA TV ratings. And they can't do that because the NBA has now found a way to count their TV ratings so they actually look good, which I don't know if it's true or not, but they count every social media impression, so they all look good now. So you don't have that. So you have this as the national issue because there's nothing else to talk about in sports. And so, but it's true. This is the NBA's problem, is that this is the week everyone bags on the NBA, but this issue is actually true. And it's not good. So I'm not trying to miscast that. But spotlighting the Utah Jazz as the issue, are you beeping kidding me? Like, if I'm Austin Ames, Justin Zanuck, Ryan Smith, I am up Bobby Marks' like you've never seen before. Okay, this is a joke. This started most predominantly in 1984. I've been around this league for a whole hell of a long time. I'm old. In 1984, I was not in this league. I was 14. But if you go back and look at the Houston Rockets in 1984, they lost every game on purpose so they get Akeem Olajuwon, who went to the University of Houston. And therefore, the league put in new rules. Literally 1984. We can go to 1997 and question whether or not Sean Elliott actually needed knee surgery, or whether the San Antonio Spurs, with David Robinson already out for what they determined was the entire year, decided to shut down Sean Elliott 37 games into the season. How far else do you want to go back? Do you want to go to 2003 when Denver and Cleveland tankathon for LeBron James the whole year? Do you want to go to the game where, I don't remember the year, but two games I'll totally tell you I remember vividly. We're playing the Memphis Grizzlies and Marc Gasol is kicking our, I mean, dramatically, like 20, my memory would be like 24 or 26 in the first half of the game, killing us. We need to win desperately. We're good. Like, we need this win, and Marc Gasol is killing us. And Marc Gasol mysteriously does not play a minute of the second half. We were playing Brooklyn, and Ben Simmons was killing us. Hit a buzzer beater at the end of the fourth quarter, I think, and we came out for overtime, and Ben Simmons was nowhere to be seen. That was like last year. You want to go BYU reference? I always love this because I loved this player. This is one of my favorite players. And he was a good kid, too. Kyle Collinsworth. This is just like how obscure you can get. This is only one that would reference us. Kyle Collinsworth was a wonderful, wonderful basketball player. He played at BYU. He was 6'8", 210. I thought he was great. He played 32 games for the Dallas Mavericks in 2018. And I would argue that he played 27 games for the Dallas Mavericks because the Dallas Mavericks were interested in not winning basketball games. And they went 9-23 in the games he played. And Kyle Collinsworth played 35 minutes and 44 minutes in NBA games during that stretch. Are you kidding me? So to act like this is new? How about you tell the truth? How about you tell the truth, Bobby Marks? The truth is that the best interest of the Utah Jazz franchise right now is that they should play, when healthy, Keyonte George, Lauri Markkanen, and Jaren Jackson Jr. on the floor together for about 18 minutes a night, only them together, like with whomever else you want to play with them. But Lauri shouldn't play a minute without Jaren, and Jaren shouldn't play a minute without Lauri, and they shouldn't play a minute without Keyonte, and they should play like 3 6-minute stints in the first half every night, 18 minutes as an open scrimmage to get used to each other, and then shut it down every night. That's what we should do. Truthfully. That's the truth. And then what's best for the Utah Jazz is for those three players to get time together because they're the core of what we have moving forward. And if we had Walker, it would be wonderful to play Walker. And then for the rest of the night, we should put Isaiah Collier, Bryce Sensabaugh, Cody Williams, Kyle Filipowski, whomever, Vince Williams, whomever else out there, and see what they can do against regular level NBA players with a game on the line. And find out which of them has it and which of them doesn't. Because next year we're in. And we're not developing guys anymore. I talked about this yesterday. Like, it's cute right now. But if you're going to miss 3 defensive rotations a night next year, you're not playing. If you can't develop the skills that you need to play, like, you're not playing next year. This is a team that's going to be built to win basketball games next year. But it's not right now. That's not in the best interest of our franchise. So why don't you tell the truth? The truth is that the system that the NBA has right now is that this is what the Utah Jazz should be doing each and every night. But to put it on the Jazz, that the integrity of the game, shut up. That is an uncalled for, cheap shot that must borderline on something personal. Why the Utah Jazz have become the spotlight of this is a grandiose mystery to me. The Golden State Warriors had a protected pick that got them Harrison Barnes, and they lost, I think, 17 of 20 down the stretch without, literally monumental. Led them to win a championship because they got Harrison Barnes was part of the championship. Oh, by the way, there was the Philadelphia 76ers and the process. And they got criticized. Just run through it. How about the 2007 Boston Celtics? God forbid we touch the perfect franchise. We can't touch the Spurs or the Celtics. They both done it. Danny did it in 2007. His entire franchise was set to try to go get Kevin Durant or Greg Oden in 2007, and then he got screwed in the lottery, and he dropped to 5, so then he made these trades that won him a championship. But you know what? If he hadn't done what's right for his franchise that year, he wouldn't have had the 5th pick, which he traded for Ray Allen, which allowed him then to go make the other pick to get Kevin Durant or Kevin Garnett, which put him with Paul Pierce. Go look at how many games Paul Pierce played that year. Stop this. Washington, Trae Young, Anthony Davis, Indiana, Zubac, no one's playing. It's a disaster. It's a super big problem for the league, but it's not Utah. The league has 2 major problems it has to address. I'll be open about it. I'm not hiding. The league's got problems. 2 of them, but they aren't the Utah Jazz problem. Next on Locked on Jazz. Wednesday edition of Locked on Jazz is brought to you by my good friends over at Intercap Lending. I'm so proud to have Intercap as a sponsor because the customer service that is given to all of you each and every day, I think, is absolutely incredible from Steve Carter and the crew. It's really absolutely awesome. And that is why Intercap has been with us for, I think we're verging on our 8th year now. And that's pretty cool. So here's how it works. Steve Carter is our own personal loan officer. He's over at Intercap. He is the single best customer service person I've been around. I mean, Brandon the other day emails me. He's on it within 5 minutes. Ryan emailed me. He was in with like 10 minutes. Jack, right on it. Caleb, right on it. Like these guys, and I can't wait to hear back from Brandon and Ryan and Jack and Caleb, who've all gone to Steve Carter through us, because it's just an amazing customer service experience. I've used Steve for a ton of stuff. It's been great. So rates have come down a little bit. People are beginning to reach out. Here's what Steve wants you can do with Steve. One, if it's the right time to refinance, he can do it. He's had people cash out loans to pay off other debts. One other thing to note is refinance. You can look and see, let's figure out the time. Sit down with Steve. He'll totally do it with you. Let's look at a review of everything that's going on and say, okay, when the rate hits this number, that's the right time. That's the first time it's the right time for you to refi. We can figure out whether it's a thing. So continue to offer. They also have 2-time closing construction loans. If somebody already owns the land, that land can be used toward the down payment. And there's also an option to defer interest payments during construction. It's all with Steve Carter over at Intercap. Email me at dlock09@gmail.com. That's dlock@gmail.com. dlock09@gmail.com and I'll get you set up with a VIP meeting. Today's show is also brought to you by Indeed. Hiring isn't just about finding someone willing to take a job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And if you want candidates who match what you're looking for, Indeed Sponsored Jobs is the move. Because instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match the quality candidates by boosting your job, listing the people who fit your special criteria like skills, certifications, and locations. If I were hiring, I wouldn't just want someone who can help. I'd want someone with real experience who can jump in. And that's what I like about Indeed. You can get specific target, exactly what you need. It saves time because you're spending less energy sorting through mismatches. And with sponsored jobs, your posts can be seen with candidates who actually fit. Right now, in fact, Indeed in this minute will fill 27 jobs. So Indeed sponsored jobs, here you go. Listeners, right now, you get $75 sponsored job credit to help your job get the premier status it deserves on the Indeed.com/podcast. Go to Indeed.com/podcast. Get your $75 sponsored job credit. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. Thanks so much. It is Locked on Jazz, your daily podcast on the Jazz. Thank you for being an everydayer. Thank you for making us the #1 sports podcast network. And if you want to be part of the Everyday Club, you can join in. You get our exclusive Discord channel. What's going on over there? She's popping right now. I mentioned on Discord that I was going to, that I thought the Bobby Marks comments were, Seahawk15 says, call him up. Oh, no. Somebody else said, call him up, David. Good conversation going on in the Discord channel for the last while, talking about various things in the NBA. So some people are discussing different things. They like no team should be able to be top 4 multiple years in a row, various different lottery rules. The whole system, AW said the whole system of losing to win a draft is broken. I don't have an answer, but otherwise the top rookies will be wanting to go to the large market franchises, but incentivizing winning is odd. So anyway, a lot of great conversations there going on in our Discord channel. You can join that by being part of the Everydayer Club. For that, you get $5 a month. You get ad-free Locked On Jazz, ad-free Locked On Sports Today, as well as checking out the you also get access to Discord channel. If you want all access, back and forth with me, one-on-one, merchandise store, 15% off, and you get access. Nobody else gets access. You just get stuff that nobody else can get to. You get Leaf Tuline's bonus content. Leaf will be filling in here, by the way, next week during All-Star break. You get Leaf Tuline's bonus content. You get some bonus content from me. You get one-on-one interactions with me. You get daily newsletter into your inbox. That's all for $15 a month. And just glad to have everybody aboard doing both these things. We're building it up. We have the most all-access members of any show, so I love that. RH Schwarmer, thank you for joining the Everydayer Club yesterday. Glad to have you aboard. All right. So there's 2 problems in the league, and I don't know if I have solutions for them. So the incentivized to not win is a problem. I actually don't think it's that big a problem. I'll be totally honest with you. And what I said yesterday, I think is really true, and no one's talking about it. The raising of the salary floor to 90% of the salary cap has meant that you cannot build a team as bad as the Spurs did over the years. As the Spurs had 22-60 with just awful teams here recently under Popovich, so they could get victors, so they get so that problem exists. And teams have been building terrible teams so that they would be able to do well be in the lottery. But now it's hard. You can't build a terrible team anymore because you have to have 90% of your salary cap filled. So if you're Washington, you now have Trae Young and Anthony Davis, but you're now sitting on the side, right? And we have Lauri Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr. Like, we're going to be good now, but you got the concept. Even we just had Lauri Markkanen beforehand. You have players that are good. Every team has players that are good now because the league has flattened itself out, which they've done fabulously. But it does make this issue of playing without incentivizing to win a bigger issue than it's ever been before. And it's more kind of grotesque for fans to see it. So that's issue number 1. Issue number 2 is just players aren't playing enough games. But I don't know what to do. Like, this is a real issue. It is like, this is the issue of the league. And it's actually, what's interesting about it is, if I understand soccer correctly, it's not that different that like soccer teams play 2 or 3 games a week and they choose players play which games, right? Because there's just so much running and so much wear and tear. I don't follow European soccer at all, but I think I understand that to be true. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's fairly true. And so like if Arsenal's playing 3 games in a week, their best players aren't playing every game. That's not great. Like, they do it on Broadway too, right? Like twice a week, the stars get the day off and the understudies get to play. And you still pay for the ticket. But I will say, as a fan of the league, not as a play-by-play announcer, not as an employee, the bummer for me is that when I look last night and I see, wow, San Antonio beat LA 136-108, the first thing I go check is the lineup, and I look at the Lakers and I'm like, oh, LaRavia, Hachimura, Hayes, Kennard, Bufkin. Okay, that game didn't matter. Phoenix beat Dallas 120-111. It's like, oh, like, Houston, maybe Houston's put it back together with their win, and you look and it's like, yeah, okay, well, that is a not very good Clipper team, and they played them good. All right, so that's a good win for Houston. Wow, they're only playing 8 guys. Like, there. And then, so anyway, you got my point. Like, every night, the first thing I check on a box score is who played and who didn't. The easy answer on that is to say we need to play fewer games, which sounds good, but we actually don't know that will restrict injuries. My biggest concern is that the game that we have right now, which is 5-out spacing and closeouts and playing 105 possessions a night and going up and down the floor at the rate we're going, is breaking our players. And that if we play 72 games a night, it's actually a problem. And it also, which then leads to, and by the way, if you believe that we should be playing fewer games, which I know Bill Simmons is professing to, then you also in turn are claiming you believe in load management. Right? Let's just make sure the logic is consistent. That if you believe in shortening the season, you also then believe teams shouldn't be playing their players 82 because you believe that if they play fewer games, they will stay healthier. Which at that point, by the way, if you are the Utah Jazz, the only thing we should be concerned about is Jaren Jackson, Lauri Markkanen, and Keyonte George being healthy on April 15th. That is all that should matter to us so that they can start their offseason training. That's all that should matter to us. And so if you actually believe we should be playing shorter games, then we should only play Lauri, Jaren Jackson, and Keyonte George once a week. because that will keep them healthier. If that's true, if it's true that literally less games keeps you healthier for a reason other than just there's less opportunity to get hurt. I don't know this to be true. This implies that every injury in the NBA is based on fatigued body. I'd be real. Someone better do a lot of research on that, because I don't know that to be true, and I don't know that the data shows that. What I think the data shows is that our players are running further, more start and stops, a lot more closeouts, a lot more distance to cover defensively, a lot more rotations, playing another bunch more possessions every night. Probably should reduce our starters down to 30 minutes a night instead of 36. That's not a great viewer experience. But that's what I'm concerned about. That to me is the biggest issue. I'm not sure I buy this idea that playing fewer games is the answer. I think maybe, or we just have to adapt our expectations. Maybe it is no differently than soccer. We play 82 games, but you just know your starters aren't playing more than 60 every night, every year. The 65 game rule is absurd. All right, in regards to the incentivizing teams to win, Kevin Pelton has the answer. We would never implement it. I've got a bunch of really great emails today. The reason I decided to do the show today is because it's not often that my inbox has 3 different solutions to this on the same day. And I had 3 different people email me. Matt Thornton, he sent me some really cool ideas with literally had his computer programming sporting in it and this whole idea. And he had, actually, his idea is pretty interesting. His idea is that after the season, you randomly pick games that count. So you just randomly choose 37 games out of the schedule that count. And suddenly those are the game. That's how you determine the draft order off of that. Or maybe you do the lottery off of that. So it's just random. You don't know when the season's going on. That actually concept of randomly selecting games is probably the answer. Is at the end of the year, we have like a game show that suddenly randomly selects games. Kevin Pelton has an interesting one. Kevin Pelton has an idea that on a given, you randomly select a date at the end of the season, after the season's over. So April 16th, we have a big TV show, and they select a date. And then it's the team with the best record following that date that doesn't make the playoffs gets the number 1 pick. But you don't know the date when the year starts. So the problem is if you suddenly decide, well, we'll do All-Star break, then everyone will tank early. You'll just have teams go 3-32 to start the year and then start trying to win. But if you're trying to incentivize winning, the way to actually do it is to incentivize winning. They just don't know when it is. So you just have to play the year straight up. And whoever has the worst record, I mean, you could also do whoever has the worst record from that point on, then frankly, everyone just loses all year long. So you have to do who has the best record from that point on, which is a little funky because the concept of the draft is that the team that needs the talent the most gets it to equalize the playing field. And the other problem is that, if we don't, big market teams, how much would everybody pay out for AJ? Now you suddenly have teams building terrible teams so they can have cap space so they can pay AJ. If you don't have a draft, just have it all free agency. I mean, the other answer to all this, by the way, is get rid of the max contracts. If you get rid of the max contracts, then you just really get into who does the best job of trying to build teams. The minimum salary at 90% does put a little bit more pressure on everyone trying to build teams in a way that, maybe you shouldn't be rewarding losing as much because we've really forced everyone to spend. And if you spend badly, you probably shouldn't be rewarded. But that Pelton, maybe I'll Pelton on to talk about this more. But I believe if I got it right, he and I talked about this over dinner a while back, so I haven't checked in with him. I believe his concept is you literally choose a date. So let's say we were to choose February 11th. Happy birthday to my daughter. February 11th. And from this day on, whoever has the best record and doesn't make the playoffs gets the number 1 pick or gets the most lottery odds, however you want to do it. So you've incentivized winning from a given date, but you don't know the date. Could be November 15th. Could be April 7th. It's probably some window in there. And you randomly select at the end of the year. All right, let's talk some fun stuff like Jaren Jackson and how great he is at basketball next on Locked On Jazz. Thanks so much for tuning in to Locked On Jazz today. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. If you're looking for tickets to an upcoming event, whether it's a basketball game, whether it's a concert, whether it's Brandy Carlisle, Head in the Heart. I love Head in the Heart. I actually like the opening act better than the main act coming up. There's nothing like being there. The crowd, the energy, the moment, getting tickets, that's the best part. That's why Game Time is the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. Puts the advantage back where it belongs with the fans. Pull up the Game Time app, pick an upcoming event, have the tickets locked in within minutes. See the all-in pricing up front. No surprises at checkout. Be able to see the view from the seat before buying. Make the decision easy. Zone deals stand out. Choose the section. Game Time picks the seats, and you save. Great last-minute options with NBA tickets showing up at solid prices. Everything feels quick, intuitive, and stress-free from start to finish. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. And remember, it's GameTime.co, not GameTime.com. GameTime.co. Today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel. The winter games are here. And if you're locking in every night for the events or during the day, then you can follow it with FanDuel. It just makes sense, from medal counts to individual events to finding your angle on the sports that you care most about. FanDuel gives you more to stay connected to the action. The drama of curling matches, which actually my son and I were talking about last night, like it's actually riveting. Curling's actually riveting. It's crazy. It's a little bit like golf. The drama of curling matches start slow, somehow get intense fast. Speed skating, hockey games, niche events. FanDuel makes the entire Olympic experience engaging start to finish. Winter games are on. There's no better way to follow it than with FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. So the Jazz have Jaren Jackson Jr., and this really should lead the show, and maybe we'll talk about it more tomorrow. There are two things about him that jump out to me right now. One was an Eric Spoelstra quote yesterday. Eric Spoelstra said, he's a defensive player of the year, can score 30 points a game. How many defensive players of the year have been able to do that? Like, seriously. Think about the history of the game. Ben Wallace, Rudy Gobert. Like, these guys aren't scoring 30 a game very often. Dikembe Mutombo, 4-time winner. Now, he's only a one-time winner. I get it. But it's pretty awesome. Hakeem Olajuwon, certainly. That was one of the greats of all time. Dwight Howard probably could have scored 30. Mark Eaton, nope. Dennis Rodman, nope. Lonzo Mourning, yes. Kawhi Leonard, yes. You have to be a pretty distinctive elite talent to be one of these players. Michael Jordan, certainly. Gary Payton, certainly. I mean, there have been great players. But to be a player that can score 30 points a game and be defensive player of the year is really great. Second thing I would say is multiple actions defensively. That's what separates great defensive players. And really, talking to Will, this is what our problem has been. Our guys defend the first action fine. They go through it. And then once you have to start processing and reacting to the next play, this is where we have fallen apart badly. And this is where Jaren's terrific. Just in the first two games, it's just amazing. How many times he can, this is what made Rudy the greatest. Multiple actions defensively. Being able to impact a play multiple times in one time down the floor. If you watch our young players, they'll guard the pick and roll right. They'll make the first rotation right. But then once the ball's swinging and the advantage is on the other side and the Jazz have to catch back up, if you can at some point stymie that advantage, that's NBA defense. If somebody gets an advantage, they always will after their first action, first drive, first movement. And then you can stymie the advantage. So now they're on short clock with no advantage. That's how you play NBA defense. And that's exactly what Jaren Jackson does. It's absolutely incredible. All right, that is Locked On Jazz today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Greatly appreciate you. Check out, we now send the first ever 24/7 national NBA channel with Locked On NBA. And on Locked On NBA audio, check out Game Time. Plus, check out the Big 3 and 30. I really like it. It's a new addition we're throwing on that feed.